yeah, the main is almost the job and since might have called out to that the main is almost was steps and it might be the surface of more latter India and that it might be for a new trend. So the claim the different for the boundary the boundary for right now the like we're going towards that the next split up to the second round of different blocks to get exactly the two form that not in it that I'm going to pay for like the form of that making it sure that it's not so like at that point that I'm so looking like interactivity doing certain things related to situation and it's number thing when another category like for picture that about that state of but like and that the last second when I'm going from more like the chat to the chats through to like the and chat that they from to that of the like those now and that's why I'm more different when chat would be single-handedly that trying to take on the for bound like thing for that automatically getting on of like filters to filters to go feel organized like now that way that makes you getting up in that way that in a thing that backup and help chat out in that is again like some song a group of like snap and I'm moving on so be able to find that is fine and fill even the black smoke in it and start like team like I'm and like still be getting more sort and that way they will be waiting for something to be and that would be in that phase of situation when I'm looking that very big Ichigo making the thing so like, and that's why I'm going to more like to do like to go chat and go to like to be taking on those bounce and like in that battle and for the team, like zero ended up taking out one of the bounce it's number like that old man from that it's not that that one of that it was like the old man bounce even though that brings for like not being able to not get confident to be able to like not basically that they can really taken over to that was not that really at that point of time that to the remaining count yeah getting extremely great at like visual like to now that a little bit and some positive exactly at that point that like those that to that might definitely take up like this concept of community. This might be observation from like when we like pictures or something like something that usually having disappeared. Might definitely like so might have also taken that and don't take of like the pictures of job like might see the dates but you like those notes and everything at that point. Then likely making it towards like the job and like uh, along the about that was not acceptable for the so like at that point of the different that grocery from senior trade and go to the most legal program, the bound program that I'm doing that. Being a race and that in that through picture that at the point that topic that when he's that lifestyle forward with like the work life so like it's not so like at that point I'm going to try for like program like power line like pushing out there in the working so with that, like I'm going that at that point that that will can continue and at that point I'm going to put more like it goes like sees this front of the ends like Koga is like a snap that I'm going so yeah Koga without a great difficulty to off on it goes like this now very so that we can choose this one against like Koga and I'm going to run by then that chats as well as that automation of getting offered by the other two like this now that I'm going to definitely at that point, but they reason that happening and like when sitting, why did they go in that situation like at that point when it's different for like it should have to like most likely most of the now you know so why it should have to be making it that like when they have to talking about like the situation to be most likely yeah some of them about to like take out home and it's that is not what that that the other two box numbers was without that without colleague can chat as well as that forward and can chat as well as that so in such a situation where like they won't be able to wouldn't be able to like same and they work in it. And at that point I'm talking think of like that in that situation and that is a feel that also I can say something like that I'm doing like sitting in that that particular situation like something in like the application it's like lost 50 pounds like now that I'm like with both for like protecting working in that point like now that I'm so like at that point that it's going up through like doing shop and please that not really that was like that that now that I'm and that we have at that point from that it's going to be only a movie shop by the extreme difference in how much like that you know that it's go as well as that Colombo demands that until that point you are struggling that the bad against McDonald's and how easy from that point on that would have 20 power to that see the instead of like 20 power and 15 moves like how extremely effective against like the bounce and like Supreme or foreign like the one is like the scenario that and that's what they come with song that is going is like the scenario that I'm so uh and that way I can put absolutely my put them inform like based on having towards like the bridging, I feel like that would be you know, that they able to bring that way that it's around so the prince without being paid to get like over and taking out like without visualizing the living to like take out of that second like without that bridging out like and plus the one like the building out to German back like at that point I could ask you for like even racing one of the higher levels that the last time should that's 24 piano level of white should have had the call this net now parents in order to that like anything like say should have almost really difficulty that without even like the intent to like take out like should have that of means that basically straight away being absolutely effective silver effective against that the power and basically that those three bombs and getting taken off and that's all like like should have like the tsunami that I'm and that way about the now to be that's the bomb that fall down which is getting taken out might be eventually getting taken out by the like I told you that fall down shouting out to that or to that to escape and report that to that change to get back towards that change base is like the scenario that is the moment like so that way like it's kind of good to combination like and like concluded from that this is not like rather than launching sort of like news against like a bunch of like going out of like scenario where so that way a bunch of like videos going out of the meeting taken off and like the main the job school surviving and make it back towards like that point is like still scenario that I'm my brain. So we feel that living in right now the for like it was strongly stable to that silly that they have gets like the battle between that physical and Koga and the long ball like let us now that it was like stable and it's going to be able to like see so it was like so different that stable like different like you know week like Keigo like that side and say like it is very mapping the battle thing now that and it was I think not against Black Koga Ichigo, they are managing to like off and the big program like scenarios that are over the scale. So and then for the kind of steadily Ichigo using the like second stage of the like bracket off to the and now program. So that they need to now that is over the scale. So that they are going for that they go to adapting and like we were getting excited with like scenarios that are so the game is going sort of feel like I'm focusing and Diego to get excited by that the battle and Diego at that point they were going on like the battle to go that he taking the Diego to back to like one of our jobs like personality that was like a different like is go and so they are also that that debating whole thing about like the whole thing about like the whole thing about like about the current situation and everything to like Diego like now that so let's say like they want to like getting all of fixed stuff and then getting all that to like take was like that and that telling Keigo and that when I'm probably putting for that Keigo and then we're telling to go that he wants to be opposing like scenario that Keigo wants to like be assaulting Crunchyroll and want to take advantage of that is just like along the lines like so the Keigo man and equity man of like telling to like it's one to like scenario that is the like probably like this one to wondering to that get they go to that to only able to like understand this like won't be at all happy exactly like that if you want to get up your to like telling Keigo that like see from that and telling Keigo to like go home and that Ichigo telling Keigo to like not even speak or like tell about that everything Keigo has that found out through them right now to anyone at school like or to like anyone at school like you can learn to me and they are looking at Keigo then most likely from that point on like taking advantage of like knowing for that sort of information it's definitely program. So yeah, it will like making it to go to a lot of things for Keigo like now parents because of and also my strength and right now for that economic rate in like that coming days like and for like document to like find out about like to be such kind of like specific like now that for the mail also that meeting with the Remington right now is for like chat battle I'm going to do chat and Nova battle I'm going to do against like the sound reflect reflect that I'm doing while Originus and like Karuno's battle I'm going to do against like the old man bounce and like the senior bounce like into the now that I'm going to do like so they are going to bring that it goes and they are going to do a settle that repeating soga in terms of different chat as well that along with like normal stealth like approach to bring that offer and beginning back the sound of like restrictions factors now is that I'm dealing with the way for the as well as like the bounded like this getting taken off with now is that I'm development and the case of like all of the ways that like approach to be again I'm protecting to be alone the two ones still that is like now that I'm developing so like in that battle like I'm so thing for like that even with like shadow help like and that one thing survey struggling against like the combined strength of that that we may learn as well as like that for and all like you it's not that is and it would be able to make a shadow of very difficult and silent and like okay the game is close to bomb like probably as like you know we are going to get taken out like going up it's like personality that I'm doing again with like that point actually we went through about like it was like physical and that at least that was like I'm doing with like the very first second moves and welcome to like Gujarat and eventually ending up taking off that scene as well the film is now and at that point is when I was for like that for my song to be extreme game brave and like Gujarat and at that point the song was very right and song like when it's an original like at that point it's like for like the you go down like bringing that energy like special also towards towards that old man bound is like to snatch that at each other. So like at that point that old man bound will be implement okay at that point okay it's being game right with like to that don't like it revenge yes that it's like I'm coming from that and straight away I'm consuming sunlight source of that 20 like the young light source of 20 like not even so like at that point that the old man bound like having that experience such in that power but like I'm so different from into that old world age even more and that way like the old man found that the brain while consuming through like the consumption of like the life all of 20,000 like the old man found that getting like like this now it's therapy. So like at that point that document the know about it when that should have been absolutely stopped still about nothing but like it should have quickly figuring things out of like this that I'm still like what happening that we also and that way like I'm just that one of like the old man found what we did take no such a man of point man for everything like this that we can like that way due to that fact like I'm just bring that that the physical power the light source and like the physical power contained dependent of that and then the put back towards like currently that scenario that I'm going to so like that they're going to have friends that whole night long getting training up to the man of like so the things on that they pick up with the like having any of those that this person that like just now that I'm going but like I'm putting nearly video acting out on all of those and basically most likely doing getting from that area alone like the find like a step from the area alone like having anything to move on so by taking advantage of this data by Isura and Southern Black at that point, upon the number to give that dog like space, that seeing that dog and dog getting ready to put that to the government, but does not set up to and so at that point, I'm done to the different wild technical they want dog, which we trying to like a state like in that particular setting up and whenever increase and I'm editing that more self that taking out that a bunch of that maybe around half of like the event or almost straight away like with now that so like that one maybe That's the remaining half of like the newborn dog along with that bit of managing the escape officer at that point. And to move that towards that again is that same the scenario that was sort of like get like even at that point that thing uh even at that point I'm focusing for like the newborn dog mind that they don't be able to like communicate. To try to know have like the power to like communicate to like change my activities with newborn correctly the player on the different form like it's definitely I don't have different things definitely on level. So definitely on the different that when you want to have like voting back that way elected and at that point that still like getting a feeling as to that what most likely the bomb that brought the playground by eating through and at that point that still getting entrained and still at that point like still not realizing about as to like how like the bomb and brought the playground is like in the scenario that I'm discovering and still at that point that placing all that trust and confidence in that basically through that photo and to continue small life of like still to have to like into some facility and absolutely teams so this might be like most likely for entity reason from that photo to get revenge of case according to my earlier question about like the case and change certainly if I feel like it's like a hospital around the range. So like the new trend right now is for like it would like exactly attain like our through that it was it was like will to that save with and that would pick up to that save in that to thing in that to go with like that strong will happening and basically using that strong will to go being actually like remotely control it was stored without even holding it to like not that that will like a good thing that is almost likely remotely, even while not holding on to like it also like remotely that according to phone and basically using that the bank I pay to move of like physical on like the role that of that Koga. It's like the scenario that I'm shooting the one transaction for to definitely take that the second stage bank account like to go to the authority to go to the government and get that it's like and we go with never friend. And the never bring that the continuous bring the full situation resulting in that phone learning again where like zero would be learning like also kind of like move where like zero won't be going on like basically not just that that utility was moved by holding on to like a zip code but like at times like basically being able to like use it to like go marine. It's like you know meaning like that in like the future. It's like the angel of the that was all the thing right. At that point that something wrong at the night they will take a Sunday to think that those newborn dolls that the learn that automatically the person back to that table and that at that point that table withstanding that burden and like survive. Oh, it's going like that's even right. That I'm still not differently for like it won't talk about taking the surviving is like it's not that I'm still over and I'm never putting that for if that being solely for solely into that shape of having high sort of the famous because like me and point of friends like that actually the case might be for individuals so like high spectrum like alone one of the individuals alone like the store if the life or even if taken out might be able to be put back might be like that to the days spectrum of the drivers. So definitely like about like individual being that unable to withstand that the burden of that while putting the soul back like that might be only valid for that influence with that now that I different person might be like that with the definitely much better. So that since that they both already have a different so that totally see so they could even before that being taken out by that company for those that have such a claim that solely go to that Keigo has that takes children of survival that can be put in the Keigo from the perspective now yeah that's the other thing that on black go on educating and paying out that program as well as like I'm a different like go to take on program like I'm going to maybe that when you want to like trying to like escape from the like now that but like it's gonna be not letting like when you want to like escape it is so like the key experience right now it's like basically it's just like half or not form might be in accuracy and actual for living within that situation. It's a minimum condition. This might develop your productivity like that same. due to that change that quite that that training that like Konoha gave in episode like the top message with that training of that Konoha system is going to like a soul river like metal being one metal post like that change to that which will integrate into that episode and end up that that follow that change metal had like a follow percent in it and if that follow metal operation to go back and metal be that is the thing of transform. So that particular strength that that's not for that one of persons to that be like somebody it might be dependent on that Ichigo body and so might be that that the different case the human might be the reason for that Ichigo that follow form of that Ichigo to to be so separate to that definitely ensure that you survive the human brain. So certainly I'm covering that form of that Ichigo might be to on that immense untapped potential which might exist within that Ichigo. That potential might be far too great that like suddenly that sort of form of that sort of person within that Ichigo might be lack of with it and basically might be like feeling on it might be like the activity that it is definitely not the same. It might be to such a manner that follow like form of like so for thing for this like immense power like this immense power might be a fraction of that or like dependent power might be most likely expansion of and might be through like this like for of person within that physical action that through enough and that potential of that physical itself might be like that the is that you know right. So like this like for of physical like and power might be inactivity might be like untapped power of physical that might be like that which of the case that you know so that it will be my coming of the and that it might be able to that coverage and that extent organized presence of that automating form of that physical for electrons of the zone of the was certainly meant to and that might be the sort of like growth might definitely not so that might definitely not at all want anything to do with that formula power might be that that the certainly might be the reason for like around the membrane of the flipping like it was still with while knowing that like this that transformation form of like for like form of like it will have like the power to bring down that and that way it's going to be actually like you know mean the critical situation but like it will be like is on the verge of like living just like great friend like Keigo that still not so getting like it was now still like some like long enough for of like that or like transformation of the world and like without relying on it like it was certainly still a great like so and be able to also say Keigo by relying on getting power might be like along the lines of that frames and scenarios that episode of the Pranam game. We have like eventually like substitutes are like I'm going to spend for like you know coming down to like about what kind of like was this and like same obstacle kind of set of situation in that people journey doing that into the world like it's go from the mainly or another himself that telling Ichigo that basically the only way for like Ichigo to like break through Ichigo's like barrier of that limited in that it was like it has something in the mental potential is to like is to not to control and fight alongside like which was like the women's force within that it was like the whole like transformation to like fight alongside to battle alongside that for by relying on it by both the power net relying on each other as fighting with that absolute thing is like the only way for like to go to that sub path to go to that barrier point which I'm going to be waiting about which like you know for like to that still like beyond that that it will I will have no other way but to do it like that is like now that way like after something like at that point initially it's going to being against that but like it really is go coming down to that acceptance and basically so that way uh batting element like that confidence that for the next something about form and like to go and personality and yeah this will bring out that willfully from that right now in like the battle is like the scenario that I'm sure of the